Do you know how to design a great survey? Surveys are helpful when it comes to collecting information about your customers, but poorly designed surveys can lead to lower participation and inaccurate results. In today's video, we're sharing 4 tips on how to design a great survey to gain relevant insights about your customers. I'm Alex from Jotform. Let's dive right in. Collecting survey data is a great way to better understand what your customers think or to gain insights into the problems that they face. You can use survey data internally to make decisions or externally via content marketing. But your data is only valuable if it is accurate, and poor survey design can leave you with incomplete or incorrect information. So, let's look at 4 tips on how to make sure that your participants are prepared for and engaged with your survey. The first tip is to develop goals for each survey. Every survey you create should have a specific purpose. Too often, companies send out long surveys that aren't specific, asking about everything and anything, which annoys most customers. If you really want to know the answers to those questions, break your survey up into shorter questionnaires that focus on one subject at a time. You can get the data you need faster and make developing questions easier. Write questions that are aligned with your research goals and focus on asking what you need to know. This helps respondents to stay focused as they answer your questions. Focusing on your goals can help with other aspects of the survey design too, such as avoiding complex, ambiguous questions. Our next tip is to limit your open-ended questions. As you design your survey, consider developing quick questions that can be answered in just a few minutes. Creating multiple choice questions and yes or no options will result in higher completion rates and better engagement. While open-ended questions can be useful for qualitative data, they take longer to complete and to review. So it's best to use them when you're looking for specific feedback or when you're working with smaller audiences. Survey participants prefer to get through questionnaires quickly, which means they're less likely to think through their answers or take the time to write a detailed response. If you do use open-ended questions, place them towards the end of your survey to avoid overwhelming your participants. The best way to gather qualitative data is to conduct interviews with a few people based on the broader data you already have. The results of these interviews can then supplement your data. Our third tip is to keep your survey short and simple, which will keep your respondents engaged. Focus on exactly what kind of information you want to gather. Studies show that surveys that take 5 minutes or less have the best response rate. Anything longer than 11 minutes is too long and will result in higher abandonment rates or worse, random answers. Respondents will complete a survey with 10 questions in 5 minutes or less and spend about 30 seconds on each question, but they'll speed through a survey with 30 questions in about 10 minutes, dedicating only 19 seconds to each question. Basically, if your survey is very long, people are likely to speed up their responses to get through it faster. They might not think through their answers, and they might misread the questions, which will impact the quality of your data. Ultimately, you'll get better results if you keep your survey brief. Our 4th tip is to review the wording in your survey questions. The wrong question style can cause biased answers or even confusion. Here's a few key tips on how to write effective questions. First, avoid leading questions that could create bias, such as, when do you enjoy using this product? This is more biased than, when was the last time you used this product? Also, try to ask only one question at a time. Often, surveys lump together questions which can be confusing. For instance, you should ask, do you prefer this product? And if so, why? As 2 separate questions. First, ask whether or not a customer uses the product, then ask why. Finally, provide opportunities for balanced results. Be sure to present balanced answer scales, which are an equal amount of positive and negative options divided by a neutral option. This prevents responses from skewing one direction or the other. One example of balanced response options is a scale ranging from excellent, good, average, below average, and poor. If you aren't sure whether or not your questions are confusing, use a survey test group or ask coworkers and friends for their feedback. Sometimes survey design is a trial and error process. As you begin to launch surveys, you can start to learn what your audience is like and what they don't. Then you can adjust your design to a format that they'll respond to positively. This will ensure that you continue to improve your data so that your analytical insights are clear, accurate, and useful. Let's briefly review what we've learned today. Surveys are a great way of collecting information from your customers, but for the insights you gain to be useful, you should follow these 4 tips on how to expertly design your next survey. First, develop goals for each survey. Second, limit your open-ended questions. Third, keep your survey short and simple. And fourth, review the wording in your survey questions. Again, I'm Alex from Jotform, and thanks for joining us today. Take care.